After the service that night, we sat in our car and I told my mother that I never wanted to come back to this place again. But she told me that not only were we coming back, but I had to go up for prayer as well and get saved. But what we didn't understand is that YAH does not work that way. You must be a willing participant. It must come from your heart and your desire to be His. Later that week, I saw my friends and they asked me why we were not at the social gathering over the weekend. And I told them that we went to church and my mother has decided for both of us that we were going to change our lives. Both my friends said to me, "Don't worry. Our mothers went through this same process. It'll last for a few weeks to a month and then they'll be back to what they normally do." But I waited for that change. And you know what? Some things did change. Just not the way that I thought they would. There were some huge changes in our lives that my mother was making at the time. And I'm going to give you a few examples of that. Number one, there was no more worldly music being played in our home or in our car. And number two, no more cussing, period. Number three, no smoking or drinking in our home or in our car. But number four, that was the worst one for me. No more parties. I must admit, I was very angry with my mother, but I also knew that I didn't have a choice. And this was the first time I had a dream. And in this dream, I saw two spirits standing before me. And there was someone who was standing next to me. And they told me to choose one. I looked at them both, but I could not tell the difference between one or the other. They looked exactly the same. And I tried to explain to this person that it was impossible for me to choose because they looked identical. But he explained to me that I had to make a decision, and I had to make it now. And the person standing next to me told me not to look with my eyes. Don't make this decision with your eyes. Make it with your heart. So I did. And I pointed to the one that I chose. Then I saw a smile on the face of the spirit that I chose as the other spirit disappeared. And a calmness came over me that I had never experienced before in my life. I did not want to tell my mother what happened, so I kept it to myself until one day I heard about an evangelist in our church that interpreted dreams. She had the gift that YAH gave the prophet Daniel. And one Sunday after church, I built up the nerves to introduce myself. And I asked her if she could interpret a dream for me. And she said yes. "Tell me your dream, young man." So I did. And she told me, "This is the interpretation of your dream. The person that came to you was YAH. wanted to know who you wanted to serve. You see, there are only two choices. One is Yah, and the other is Satan. And as I looked at her, I could see the smile on her face. And at that moment, I knew that I had made the right choice. And she said to me, "Young man, what is your name?" And I said, "Donald." And then she said to me, "Here is my phone number. Call me anytime you have a dream, and I will interpret it for you." And for the next 47 years, every time I had a dream, I would call her. And the interpretations of my dreams were 100% correct, like the prophet Daniel. And she told me that my gift would make room for me.